Welcome back to episode 2 of my series called Not a Podcast, where it's not a podcast, but it basically is, but it's also not. So this is not really intended to be a movie podcast or whatever, but I am just going to talk about the movies I've seen lately because I watch a lot of movies. I'm going to talk about movies that I've watched. I'm going to talk about Fantastic Four and also Marvel as a whole in 2025, just kind of the movies that they've released. I'll also talk about Oh Hi, because I just saw that. I also recently watched Ruby Sparks, Memento. I'll just go through my Letterboxd again. But before that, let's talk about Bite Me, all right? The new Renee Rapp album has been on repeat. I didn't even listen to it when it first came out. Something else had come out that day. Oh, I think it was Subway. And I had gotten home from work and I was like, I need to listen to Subway. And then I realized Bite Me was out the next day and I still hadn't listened to it, but I listened to it over the weekend. I think Shy has definitely been the one that's been on repeat. And I think At Least I'm Hot, because that one is like a nice little disco groove. Leave Me Alone is good and I still like it a lot, but I think I usually listen to the singles too much when they come out. I feel like I overplay them. And so I had a friend who was talking about like the fact that they don't listen to singles until the whole album comes out, and I didn't listen to Mad when it first came out. I listened to it only on the album and I ended up really liking it, but I definitely think that if I had listened to it before the album had come out, I would have already been sick of it. Not that I'm sick of Leave Me Alone, but it is a little bit of a skip sometimes just because I've heard it so many times and I want to get to the other stuff. Mad is pretty good. I like it. Why Is She Still Here? Banger. Something about the line, I don't take friends to the back of my tour bus, the way she sings it is really addicting to listen to. Now pause. Let's get into the whole concept of celebrities cheating, because everyone needs to put their 2 cents in, especially me, because this is my show now. But I'm not going to concern myself with the whole timeline. I think it was already a thing that people were speculating that they were together, or that they were like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people were already speculating about their relationship, and I'm not there. It's not for me to speculate about, even though I'm speculating about it right now. I don't care personally because now the music is good. I don't know her personally. I'm not her friend. I can't be like, hey, it's kind of crazy that you did this or whatever. The music is good and I don't really want to think about the timeline. I saw the movie Oh Hi, which was really great. I really love Molly Gordon and also Geraldine Viswanathan. I was just watching her Royal Court with Brittany Broski yesterday, and Brittany Broski has the life that I want. Like, I really want to be, or like any of those like shows that are like YouTube interviews. Like, I love the concept of Royal Court. I just think that interview formats that are like really fun are something that I would love to do. So yeah, I saw Oh Hi. My favorite line delivery, I think, was Molly Gordon's Let Me Make You Breakfast. It was really great. I was talking to a friend about the fact that I think this would work really well as a straight play if you like kind of moved around the stuff with the outdoors, or I guess just like the creek stuff. If you made that like a little bit different, like they were having a picnic or whatever, you'd have to like rewrite it. But I think that it could work as a straight play. I would love to see this as a straight play. I would love to try directing it as a straight play. I really got to get more into my directing game. But I've been on my writing game. I said that thing that I said about Superman and his like weakness to someone, and they asked me if I was a writer. And I was like, actually, yes, because it is kind of my major, and it's a little bit my minor. So I guess I am a writer. In a way. Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Liv. I'm a writer. Like, it just sounds good. I don't know. I used to want to be a writer when I was a kid. And I would write stories that were like, I would make everyone in my class, like, this was like 4th grade, I would make everyone a dog. I would give them like a dog name. Or maybe I didn't. I actually don't remember. But I remember writing a story about like if our class was dogs, which sounds so stupid. And then I had another story in like 6th grade. It was called Cookie Crumbs because I had been eating cookies and the crumbs had fallen on my desk. I think the main character's name was Charlie, and he had a girl best friend and she was blonde. And she had a different beanie for each day of the week. And I know that she's definitely based off of the blonde girl from Subway Surfers, who I don't remember the name of. Is her name Trix or is that the bunny? I don't know. Anyways, imagine they're both named Trix, and then they kind of have to, like, whatever. The girl wore a different beanie for every day of the week, which is so crazy. Like, the time. What a time it was. And then I think they stole a teacher's car, and they got to this island. They were basically recruited to be spies. And I had, like, 24 chapters written, and I regret deleting it. I literally deleted it off of my school account. You get one email for the whole time that you're in school from like kindergarten or whatever, not kindergarten, but like 1st grade to high school, or maybe they implemented it by the time, I think I got mine in like 3rd or 4th grade. So while you're in that school system, you have that email. So I wrote it in 6th grade. I had it on my Google Docs and my Google Drive, and I deleted it I think in like 6th or 7th grade or maybe 8th grade. And I had other stories too, but like I know that one was probably so fun to read. Like 24 chapters, and it was all written in Comic Sans. Oh my god, this is a live lore. This is the live lore segment that you guys are going to be enjoying. So yeah, that's my live lore of the day. Cookie Crumbs, gone but not forgotten. Yeah, so because obviously my school account deleted by the time I graduated, or like shortly after I graduated, but I wish that I had kept that because I could have transferred it somewhere else. Me and my friends once did that with someone's work, who she had sent us like this copy. Oh my god, I can't even, it's like so famous within our friend group. Like we reference it all the time. The story was called Family Issues, and it was just so fun to read. Actually, it was like one of my first like big videos on this channel. It's privated, but it was us reading Family Issues. It was just so I reference that like all the time because like I don't know, there's so many good things to reference. I've been getting back into writing. That was a long way to go about it, and I would love to do more. I think that Ojai would work really great as a straight play. So I saw Ojai twice, actually. I went with my friends on one night, and then I was like, my mom would really love this, so I took my mom to see it. Before that, okay, let's go through the timeline. I watched Fantastic Four on opening night in IMAX, and then I got home and me and my dad finished Gladiator, so now I've seen both of them. I made a mistake and I rewatched Deadpool and Wolverine. It does not get better. I have a friend who was like, oh, like I liked it the second time around. And I'm like, yeah, but so she was saying that she knew now to not take it as seriously, so it was easier to enjoy it, I guess, or to know that it really didn't matter and whatever. But I went in with that mindset. I was like, okay, let's see if I can just have a good time or whatever, and not really, like, I can just turn my brain off and not pay attention, and maybe it'll be okay. But the jokes really hammer home that you're supposed to laugh. It rubs it in your face. I think that the Hugh Jackman as Wolverine parts were really, really strong. I loved Matthew Macfadyen. Matthew Macfadyen was really good as well in this movie. They used the R word. Blade uses the R word in this, and I'm like, that just so was not necessary. Okay, so now that we've gone over that I made a mistake and I rewatched Deadpool and Wolverine, which I thought I was never gonna do, but I did, and I hated it, let's move on. I watched Ruby Sparks for the first time. Now, this one took me a minute, okay? And I don't mean it took me a minute to watch. I mean, like, actually, no, that's a lie. This has been on my watch list for ever. I think since I got Letterboxd or sometime near that, which my anniversary is tomorrow, on the 6th. I'm filming this on a Tuesday. Ruby Sparks, I really loved everything about it. So I've wanted to watch this movie for years. It just had never been available to me. I really like the idea of the genre of men falling in love with, you know, some idealized version of a woman and then realizing that she's unattainable. It's a very simple lesson that you would think most men have through their heads by now, but they don't. And so, it still makes for a really interesting movie. The last one I watched was Her. Like, I don't know, I figured they were cut from the cloth. They were of the cloth. Do you know in Superman when Guy Gardner is like, oh, he's of the cloth? Let's put that in there. So I thought these movies would be of the cloth, and they kind of were, but I think the difference is that Joaquin Phoenix's character in Her is a little bit more sympathetic. I think he's just like a better person than Paul Dano's character, Calvin, because Calvin's whole thing is that he can't understand women and he doesn't realize that they're multifaceted, which is, like I said, a very simple lesson to learn, versus Joaquin Phoenix's character, who I forget the name of, is, I think, more understanding of that, but he's more conflicted by the fact that he's falling in love with a operating system. But yeah, so Ruby Sparks, I loved everything about it. I really enjoyed the movie. I found out that Zoe Kazan, is that her name? Zoe Kazan, wrote the movie, and to that I just say, like, I don't like the ending. I think that's my only problem with it, is that I really loved everything else about this movie except for the ending. So, because, like, I don't really know what it's trying to say about Calvin. If Ruby had left Calvin and Calvin then meets someone new, then we can kind of assume that he's learned his lesson, that he can't control someone, and he moves on from Ruby. And I understand that him meeting Ruby again and she doesn't remember him now gives him the opportunity to be with her and not have this control over her. And, like, maybe that's kind of what he needed to understand that, like, this is a girl that he likes, that he knows that he likes, but now he understands that he can't just control everything that she does. But I think it just creates the same problem again of, like, she doesn't know that he created her. And it's not like he's going to tell her again, but I just think that it kind of, I don't know, I think I need to think about it even more, but I really just don't know that I like that he meets her again, because it's almost like he's rewarded. If the message was about his writing, and it was like a kill your darlings message that, you know, you have to, well, it could have been a kill your darlings message. If he had gotten rid of Ruby completely and met someone new, then it could have been that you have to, you know, throw away stuff that you really like in your writing to make a better story or whatnot. But I feel like now this kind of gives more of like a, if you let go of the one that you love, like, the love will find you again. But like I said, I think the main thing is just that it defeats the purpose of the whole, you know, her finding out that she's his creation. And I personally would have liked it better if he had met someone new. However, I do really love the movie. It's just one thing that's stopping it from being my favorite is the ending. And maybe I'll rewatch it at some point and change my mind. I don't know if I'm the only one who thought this, but she kind of looked like Chappell Roan. That's all I'll say there. The next one I saw was Memento with my dad. I was tired of, you know, I think I was just tired of rewatching movies. I usually rewatch a lot of movies with my dad, and I wasn't in the mood to rewatch stuff. I wanted something new. And so we watched Memento because I had never seen it. If you have never seen it either, I would really recommend skipping to whenever this time is. I don't know. I promise I will edit it in that you should skip, because then you can, you know you can go, just go, pause the video, watch the movie right now, come back, it's great, we'll see it. Yeah, I really liked the movie as well. I liked this one as well. I liked the backwards, the fact that, like, in the beginning, the opening scene is, like, it's all backwards, and then, like, it all moves backwards. Like, well, yes, but I think my dad said that the constant going backwards got a little like, he got a little tired of it at the end. I personally didn't mind it. I think, like, it lost its novelty about halfway through. But once you get used to the fact that that's how the story is told, it doesn't really, like, ruin anything for me. I think if it started going linear at one point, it just wouldn't make any sense. Since you already started going backwards, so you have to finish going backwards. Yeah, and then it was just so confusing because, I mean, I think my take on it, or like, I don't know if it's a take or if it's just like how I understood it. My understanding of it is that this is Leonard getting his memory back fully, and now he's remembering everything that he did. I did not trust Teddy at all. He was just so suspicious the whole time. And I don't know, I just thought it was interesting that everyone was like kind of very two-faced toward him, but I feel like now that I've taken a minute, like now that it's been a few days since I've seen it, I can definitely say that it makes sense that everyone would be so two-faced toward him, because I think maybe the point is that he can't trust anyone. I think I was just confused at the end because, like, did he kill the right guy or not? But I think that's also kind of up for you to decide as the audience. Yeah, I definitely need to put some more thought in that. But I was a little confused at the end, as one always might be with a Christopher Nolan film. I want to watch Tenet next, I think. I want to watch Inception 2. It's definitely on my list. But I want to watch Tenet because I want to see Robert Pattinson. I love him. Anyways, I really loved him in Mickey 17. Everyone go watch Mickey 17. It was a great movie. It was very like Shutter Island, where like everyone tells you that you can't go into it knowing the twist, but then you're expecting a twist. So I think my general thing is that people need to stop saying, oh, don't look anything up for the twist. Just say, hey, you should go into this movie completely blind and leave it at that. It's less words to say, bonus, but it's also just like not spoiling the fact that there's a twist in the movie. Because, like, sure, you're not spoiling the twist, but you're spoiling that there is a twist. Yeah, it was really good. Tenet is probably next on my Christopher Nolan watch list. I don't know. People have been asking me if I'm going to see The Odyssey. I don't know. I know that the tickets are on sale. I will not be buying them until probably, a few weeks before, if they're available or not. But, like, what do you think I'm going to do? It's not like a concert, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go and buy a movie ticket a year in advance. That's kind of crazy. Okay, let's talk about Fantastic Four, because that's what you guys are all here for. Oh, actually, wait. Before I talk about Fantastic Four, stop. Pause. I saw Sunset Boulevard as well yesterday night, because the Fathom events they were doing. And I was talking to a friend about the fact that they should do more. Like, I love movie theaters. Part of the fact that I love movies is also additionally that I love movie theaters, and I love being in a very, like, isolated experience where it's the only thing that I can focus on. I love not being able to touch my phone. Even if I don't have popcorn or anything on, I'll sneak in a candy or whatever. Like, I love just being in the perfect environment to watch movies until I get my own home theater, which I probably won't get for a while. But if I ever get like my own place that I'm living solo, Han Solo, I would definitely have some sort of elevated movie theater experience just in my living room or whatever. Like, that is my priority, is having a movie watching space. So, yeah, I loved the opportunity to go see a movie that I wouldn't usually be able to see on the big screen on it. And I found out about some other opportunities that there are for that, like in the city and whatnot. So hopefully I get to do that more during the school year, because I'll be closer and I can actually take the train. So I'm going to talk about now Sunset Boulevard. It was my first time seeing it, and it was so awesome. I really loved it. I will admit that I got a little sleepy at the New Year's part, because I'm just a sleepy girl and I was really tired that day. But I took my mom to see it as well, and she also really loved it. I just thought it was so great and beautiful. I thought all the characters were really compelling. I knew that Max was definitely going to be like in love with Norma, but I did not predict that he was her first husband. You really feel for all of the characters. Like, I feel like you can even feel for Norma and you feel bad for her despite the fact that she's doing these terrible things. And you understand kind of where she's coming from because nobody really loves her anymore. And with Joe, the writer, he realizes that he loves her, kind of. Like, I do believe that part of him was in love with her, and that's kind of why he brushed back so quickly. Like, I don't know that it was necessarily just guilt. Like, I do think a part of him felt for her, and I think that's what makes it more interesting, is that, like, when he is talking to Betty at the end, and he's saying, like, oh, like, you know, it makes sense why I'm living with her because she pays for things, and I can't afford life on my own and whatever. But I think that's more of a excuse that he's telling himself to to not acknowledge that he might be a little bit in love with her. And then obviously he runs away after her because I think him saying that out loud makes him realize that it's just not worth it and he really should leave. But I do think that part of him was in love with her. I think that makes it really interesting. So yeah, I would say I also really love the character of Betty. I think, like I said, I think everyone is really, really interesting in that movie. And I'm so glad my first time seeing it was on a big screen. So awesome. And then I was home by 9. Or not home by 9, but like we were leaving the theater by 9 and the movie had started at 7. Amazing. Love it. Now let's talk about the big one, Fantastic Four. The first time that I saw this movie, I could not get Superman out of my head. I was thinking about Superman the whole time. I felt like I was on a date with someone that maybe my friend set me up with, but I can't get over my ex. And, like, I'm just thinking about Superman the whole time. And I couldn't help but compare it when I saw it the first time. The second time, I got to take my family out. I got to take my parents out. And so it was great because I was like, we never get to go out as the three of us. I am an only child. Let's get that out there now. You can judge me, whatever. Apparently everyone can tell. And I'm like, why? But I took my parents out to see it. And my mom really loved it. She loves Pedro Pascal. And my dad quite liked it too. My overall thing that I think would have benefited this movie was another 30 minutes. I would have loved this to be longer. And it really just comes down to the fact that we don't really know the four after the movie is done. I think that Sue is kind of... Everyone was saying that it was her movie, but it was definitely more of Reed's movie. It was like, Pedro Pascal had a great performance. And I think Pedro Pascal and The Thing were probably my favorites. Reed and The Thing were probably my favorites of the whole movie. I do think that, like I said, another 30 minutes, here's how I would do it, okay? If you added another 30 minutes to this movie, in the beginning, when they do the Ted Gilbert show and they have the interview, like, I would have them sit down and give an interview. They would ask questions about the past things that they've done. And then it could just take us flashback as they answer the interview questions. And then we would see them actually dealing with the problem instead of just like giving us a montage and telling us why we should care about these people. Because they didn't save me from those apes. They didn't save me from the mole man. You just showed me that they saved all these people. I think that could have benefited. That could have added, like, maybe an extra, 5 minutes if you want to, like, not take too much time. 5 to 10 minutes there. And then, you could have added also, I think there could have been an expansion on Johnny Storm's language learning plot. I think that would have been really interesting to see him. And I also think he was quite serious. I thought he was going to joke a little bit more. I would have loved to see just more of him in his element because I think they spent a lot of time on Reed. I think a lack of a side plot is what is making this movie, preventing it from being a 10. I also do think, like I said, so I think Galactus taking over the entire plot of the movie is another shortcoming that it has. Like I said, if they had a little bit more expansion on all of those adventures that they had in the beginning, instead of giving us montage, they could have given us actual adventures, then we would have seen them reacting to different situations that weren't just Galactus. But now we only see them react to Galactus, so we're limited in our understanding of how they work as a superhero team. There also could have been another side plot. Like I said, there should have been another side plot to this movie, not just the Johnny Storm stuff either. I'm talking like, and not just the Ben stuff. Like, we didn't understand where they were together. Like, he only meets the Natasha Lyonne's character once, and I think that we don't really understand why he cares for her. So, and my dad brought up, like, oh, it's because people like him as a superhero and not as a person. Or I guess just, like, that he looks different, so he feels like he's not liked as much anymore. But people do, like, the kids really love him, and everyone really loves him. I don't know, something about it rubbed me the wrong way. I wish we had more with that. I also would have added I'm talking about this as if I know anything, but I also would have added another side plot that maybe revolved around someone who wasn't in the four, because I think it also feels like a very isolating experience. You have only these four people, and they're only focusing on one threat. So if you had someone like, I don't know, I don't want to say journalist because that's very Lois Lane, but if you had someone else that was involved in the world, who could, like, kind of see things from an outsider perspective, and we could then see why why this world cares so much about the Fantastic Four. Maybe it's someone who, I don't know, I'm trying to think of good ideas, but, like, we saw shots of those families watching the portals, or what are they called, bridges, like, start to work, and they're nervous about it, and they trust in the four. But I think a focus on one of those families, or, you know, having a focus on a kid who might be a fan, or someone who was saved. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it sounds cliche, but I do think that having someone outside of the four, or even that one woman that Sue was talking to, I think seeing a little bit of her life and how, like, why she sticks by the four. I don't know her name. Lynn Nichols. So she's the chief of staff of the Fantastic Four. Lynn, girl, come up. Come up to the stage. Let's hear what you have to say. I think someone like that, who is, like, close to them, she's helping them out, and, you know, she has to stick by them, but maybe give us a reason why she started working for them in the first place. Why does she care about them? I think fleshing out some of the other characters would have made it much more understandable as to why everyone really loves them. And I think they gave a good enough backstory for the Silver Surfer. I've been thinking about her and Johnny as, like, a dynamic. Not that I want them to enter a romantic relationship. Let's start here with shipping, right? My friend talked to me about the fact that she sees shipping as more of a dynamic than wanting them into a relationship, which I'm like, wait, locked in, because I really like the dynamic of how they interact together, and I like her as a Silver Surfer. They could have even spent more time with her. I really do think that more solo scenes with people who weren't the Fantastic Four would have been adding to this movie a lot. It's definitely a great step in the direction for Marvel, okay? It's a great first step for Marvel, and I did really enjoy it a lot more the second time. Like I said, it really just feels like there's 30 minutes of the movie that's missing, and I want to see those 30 minutes. I'll say this, though, thing that I definitely did not like, Magic Space Baby. Do not come near me with the Magic Space Baby. I don't like that if Sue was gonna die, like, and you just revived Sue, like, now you have to train this baby to, like, not just go around reviving people. Like, that is going to cause problems in the universe. Another thing I'll say is that mid-credit scene where Franklin is holding the Doom mask and touching his face, according to a source that I don't know if it's reliable or not, apparently RDJ's Doom is not going to be having the facial disfiguration, so then why are you just, like, randomly touching RDJ's face? That's a little awko. But I'm just assuming because I love making assumptions. I'm not jumping to conclusions. I step and their conclusions were. Okay, that's a great Buffy line. Yas, let's talk about the rest of Marvel's 2025. I think Fantastic Four was definitely my favorite that they've come out with in 2025. It definitely also has the same problems as Thunderbolts, like I said. So, and this is not even like a like a Superman comparison. I'm just saying that Superman had the, one common villain throughout the whole movie, but he didn't have to save the world against some world-ending threat until the very end when the pocket dimension opened up like their space rift. Whereas like Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are both about saving the entirety of some community, whether it be New York or the entire world, against one threat that we've known about the entire movie. So now we have this one thing that we're facing, and we don't get to understand how this group works together as a team outside of this one threat, which I think is the only downfall of both of those movies. I also really liked Thunderbolts, okay? Both of these movies I liked a lot more on the second watch. I think what I really appreciate about Thunderbolts is the fandom culture that it's kind of bringing back. I really like the stuff that I'm seeing online, like the headcanons and the whatever, and like I think they're fun. They're silly, they're fun, you're having a good time. And so that's what I can appreciate about, I guess, both of the movies, but more so Thunderbolts, because I love a team that comes together for no reason. Yeah, for Thunderbolts, you can definitely feel that they were supposed to be in the vault the whole time. Like, I was like, they're spending a lot of time in this vault. And then I found out that in one of the first drafts, like, they were supposed to be in the vault the whole time. So since I'm going back into the Marvel thing, I'll talk about all of Marvel's movies this year. The other one being Brave New World. I have not seen Ironheart yet. I've heard that it's good. I want to watch it. I'm going to tune in, I promise. I just, like, I'm not good at, like, binging TV shows, and I just don't think that I've gotten into that one yet. I'm also, like, not really in a Marvel mood, per se, right now. Brave New World actually was quite okay. I think it kind of sucks that they screwed over the character of Sam Wilson, because I think he has a lot of potential. He really fits into him and Steve Rogers both fit into my category of, like, characters that I'm drawn to because they know one thing and they're good at that one thing and they don't like giving up that one thing. Another example is my favorite character ever, Cyclops. I'm playing as him tonight in the RPG, so we'll see how that goes. My friend wrote up a story called Corny Park. I'm really excited. The 5 Capes was a success and everyone really loved it. But yeah, and I got to do a bunch of southern accents. It was really random. Anyways, yeah, so I think Sam Wilson fits into that category of someone who doesn't really or just has a big commitment to something and doesn't really like when that commitment is challenged or has to deal with that commitment being challenged. I think he's really interesting in Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I still have to rewatch. I rewatched like the first episode, but they gave him the plot of the fact that he's not Steve Rogers, but then he realizes that he, can take up the mantle of the Shield and that he's capable of it. And then I think that giving him the same, like, oh, I'm not Steve Rogers plot when he is Captain America is kind of not nice. It's actually very mean to do to him. I think that, Anthony Mackie has a certain amount of charisma that can be utilized for him as Sam Wilson. And Falcon is also, the new Falcon, Joaquin Torres, is a very interesting character too. Like, he has like that nice little excitedness to him. I think they have a really awesome dynamic that could have been played out a lot more if it hadn't just been a Hulk movie. It really comes down to the fact that it was a Hulk movie, and they also screwed him over with that Black Widow assassin. It shouldn't have been Sabra. It could have been Mockingbird, who was my favorite assassin type person. Bobby Morse, bring back Marvel's Most Wanted. The people want it. They are my most wanted. I really love Bobby Morse. I think she's so cool. I'm sorry. I love Bobby Morse. Okay. Now that I'm done talking about Bobby Morse and how she could have been in the movie, like, you could have put so many other cool people in that movie, and Sabra just wasn't one of them. You had the Eternals mention, and you're not going to give them a second movie? That's despicable. Terrible. So, yeah. But, I mean, it wasn't terrible as a movie, I guess. Like, I think I really did enjoy the parts where it was just Sam being Cap. Mostly, I hated any part that had to do with the Hulk. I really was not a fan. I didn't really like paying attention to those parts, and I was just so tired by the end of it. But I didn't mind, like, the beginning of it. Like, it really wasn't horrible. as a movie. Yeah, I really just wish they hadn't disguised it as like a random Hulk movie, or they hadn't disguised it as a Captain America movie when it really was just a Hulk movie. And then they also bring up adamantium and the, Celestials with Eternals and whatever. And I'm kind of mad because I really liked Eternals and I thought it was a really fun movie. But also, like, with adamantium, if they're planning on introducing the X-Men and Wolverine's claws and skeleton are made out of adamantium, that means that Wolverine would have had to be made, like, right now. The Canadian government is currently making him right now. So, I don't know. Is Logan made by the Canadian government? Is that who put the adamantium there? I feel like I don't know this, and I should. Let's pause. So yeah, that was my overall thoughts on Brave New World. It wasn't horrible. I think it could have been so much better, and I think that the character of Sam Wilson, people are not realizing his potential, because why did you give him Hulk movie when he could have had a new Captain America movie? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't terrible. It definitely wasn't the best one out of the movies that have come this year. It's like, I don't know what they were thinking making it a Hulk movie. Speaking of the MCU, let's talk about Doomsday. I'm really not sure that this movie is going to come out at all, if on time. And apparently some people I saw a theory online about the fact that this is gonna launch into a new reboot of the MCU with, like, Doom basically winning during Doomsday, and then Secret Wars is or like taking over the timelines or something, and then Secret Wars is merging all the timelines together so that way they can get kind of like a reboot of the MCU, which to me sounds like a Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like, it literally sounds like the DCU Crisis, not DCU Crisis, but the DC Crisis. So yeah, that was my thought on the Marvel movies of this year. Oh wait, look at this thing. I found my R2 toy, and I'm taking him to school with me. I really love R2. Yeah, Herbie really carried the Fantastic Four movie. I thought he was just so cute, and I think my bigger thing is, like, I loved the montage with him baby-proofing everything. The only thing is, like, and, like, the first 30 minutes of Fantastic Four were so good. That montage was really perfect, but I think the montage that came before it, where they're fighting all the things, that could have been expanded, because we can't have two montages within that short of a time. Like, the baby-proofing montage was so fun. The fighting montage, the saving people montage, guys, just have them actually save people. I know you film those scenes. Expand on them a little bit. This is R2. He's my little droid. He's one. I was thinking about this. I need to go to the Lego store and pick up, like, a little R2 keychain, because I have a Harley Quinn one on there right now, but I think and I hate to say this, I think I'm retiring from Harley Quinn. And it's not that I don't love her. I just didn't finish the animated series season 5, and I think that I'm moving on to different DC characters. The comics that I picked up this week were, I picked up the Vision and Scarlet Witch. I picked up the DC's Superman, like the California Love. I still haven't read that one yet, but it's on my list. And then I picked up the Titans Annual that focused on Donna Troy, because I really wanted to read something with Donna Troy, but I hadn't read that Titans run yet, although I'm working on it now. Trust, I'm getting into it. And so I think that's kind of where I'm leaning right now in terms of DC. Like I said, Harley has a special place in my heart. I really loved her in high school, but I think I also just think that we've seen a lot of her, and there's not really a lot of, like, women heroes from the DC side. That's why I'm really drawn to Donna Troy, and I guess just Wonder Woman in general. I want to read the Absolute Wonder Woman series. I have to read all the Absolutes, but Donna Troy is really interesting to me. I like her friendship with Dick Grayson, and I'm excited to read this run, the current run, because apparently it's good. So yeah, that is my but I want to replace my Lego Harley Quinn keychain with R2. And I'll keep her somewhere safe. Don't worry, she'll be safe. But I think I need to change things up a bit. I'm entering a new era. Not really. There's no new era. I just want it. And I realized recently that R2 is definitely one of my favorite Star Wars characters. So other characters that fall into the whole, like, knowing one thing and kind of being good at that one thing and not being able to leave, but also maybe seeing it crumble around you, is Padme and Obi-Wan. They're both very dedicated to the Republic and the Jedi Order, respectively. And when they see kind of everything falling apart, they're really unsure of what to do and how to save it, because it's kind of all they know how to do. So they do to their best abilities, but yeah. So, okay, I'm going to wrap things up. I hope you guys like this episode. Sorry if I sounded a little congested, because I literally felt it halfway through and I'm like, oh, and I can't go blow my nose. But this has been really fun. And I will see you guys in the next one. I don't know how often vlogs are going to come out, because I know I did the 54 Below vlog. I only vlogged that because I was doing something interesting. If I go to like Six Flags or something soon, maybe I'll vlog that. But I don't know that I'm necessarily doing anything anytime soon that I want to vlog. I don't want to just vlog weekly, because then I feel like I could just talk about it here. I'd rather vlog when I'm doing something very specific and like, yeah. Anyways, bye.